This might be a hard pill to swallow, but I'm gonna tell it to you plain. Ignoring conviction is like ignoring stinky trash. Like, just because you ignore it doesn't mean it goes away. If anything, it's gonna get worse, it's gonna smell worse, it's gonna grow worse, and then it might start attracting vermin. So stop ignoring conviction. We're gonna dive into that in today's video. But before we do, welcome in or welcome back. If this is your first time here, my name is Taylor and I make videos on practical faith, practicing self-love, and preserving your temple. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe to let me know. You can even leave your thoughts below. Now, without further ado, let's get into what you came for. Quite a bold title, if I will. What happens when you ignore conviction? We are going to find the answer in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 19. I'm going to start by reading the scripture, and then I'm going to break down what the scripture actually means, and then I'm going to get into some practical life lessons that would apply to your life today. I only have 3 lessons for you today, friends. So if that sounds like a plan and you would like to know what happens when you go from numb to bold, because it's not good, stay tuned. Let me get a sip of water. Oh, if you like this cup, it is available for sale on my Etsy shop, which is linked in the description below. It does come in 5 different colors. It comes in blue, green, purple, yellow, and pink. So if you're interested, take a gander. Link on the Etsy shop below. Now, shall we get started? I think so. Join me, friends, in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 19, where it reads, "They became callous and gave themselves over to promiscuity for the practice of every kind of impurity with the desire for more and more." This is not the happy-go-lucky verses that people really like, but it needs to be said. So what is Paul talking about with that? Now, to break it down, I will be reading from my notes, because if I try to do this from memory, I am gonna mess it up. You're welcome. Okay. What dark but necessary truth is Paul delivering to us? Let's get into it. Paul warns believers not to return to the mindset they had before Christ, when their thinking was disconnected from truth and from the life of God. In this verse, he describes the condition of those who are alienated from God, not believers themselves. We in the club. He's showing us the pattern we are not to imitate, what not to do, okay? When truth is repeatedly rejected and conviction continually resisted, the heart becomes hardened. Paul then shows the inevitable result of that hardening: spiritual numbness. As correction is ignored, sensitivity weakens. The inner resistance to sin becomes easier to silence. At that point, sin is no longer seriously fought. It is increasingly embraced. The surrender is not accidental. It is the sum of repeated choices. And once sensitivity fades, desire doesn't stay contained. It escalates. What was once resisted is now pursued with growing appetite. Sin becomes shameless and insatiable, no longer hidden, but lived in boldly. Let's get into the lessons that would apply to our life today so we can really make sense of this hard truth Paul is delivering to us. Starting with number 1. Repeated choices shape your spiritual sensitivity. Numbness doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of continually resisting conviction. Your heart hardens from repetition. So, I'm going to use a real current example to bring this one home. Hookup culture. So, when hookup culture was introduced to us, it sounded like a good time, a fun time, just a night to get it out of your system, release stress, it seemed all great. It seemed cool. People try to numb themselves to the realities and implications that come from just hooking up with a bunch of random people. Soul ties do exist, by the way. They are real. So many people bought into the lie that they would gain self-worth, they would gain value, they would gain pleasure, they would have fun, they would feel fulfilled. So many people bought into that lie that hookup culture would bring you those things. And so many people try to tell themselves it's really not a big deal how many people you're sharing your body with. Something so intimate, something so sacred. Soul ties do exist. Everyone you sleep with, you're carrying a piece of them with you everywhere you go, into every relationship you enter. That will always be with you. And I'm speaking to you from experience. I carry a soul tie of my ex around, and we broke up years ago. I don't want any parts of that man. But a piece of him is still always with me because I was intimate with him in a way that should have been reserved for my husband. But instead, I just carry that man around with me. Ugh. So I'm not speaking to you to speak down on you. I'm speaking to you from experience, and I'm hoping that you take heed to this warning, that you don't numb yourself to the results of things. Like, you're still going to experience them. And when you do eventually decide to wake up, you're still going to have to deal with the ramifications of your actions. So don't harden your heart and close off your heart from listening to this warning about how serious things are. And I'm using hookup culture as an example because it's very in your face, very easy to think about. But this goes with any type of sin. When you are trying to receive correction, don't close off your heart to good wisdom, good guidance. Someone's trying to help you. Someone's trying to save you. Someone's trying to prevent you from all the ailment that comes from sin, okay? And your heart hardens with repetition. So the first time that you hook up with someone, you might think, oh, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was a little awkward. I mean, but it will be fine the next time. And then you hook up with someone else and you have the same experience. And then you hook up with someone else and you think, I mean, I'm getting better at this. I'm working out my skills. But have you ever noticed that hooking up with different people doesn't necessarily make it better? You have to go through that awkward phase with each person. The more comfortable you are with someone, you can grow in your relationship with them, which is why it should be reserved for just one person. Because when one person knows your body and when you know one person's body, things can get better because you guys aim to please each other. Whereas if you're just hooking up with a stranger that knows nothing about you for real, they don't even know your favorite color, they're not trying to please you. They're trying to please themselves. It's not going to be an exchange of give and take. It's going to be, what can I gain from this? What can I get from this? And you often leave those interactions feeling confused, not feeling like your value increased. If anything, you start feeling like shame, and you start feeling, sometimes you might even feel dirty. Like, oh my goodness. Sometimes I have to think about things I did and I'm like, Lord, I wish you would have called me sooner. I wish you would have called me sooner. So I'm just being real with you. Things don't get better because you keep doing it. You'll grow bold in it thinking you're doing the right thing, but it's only going to harm you more, especially when you eventually wake up and realize. Now, I'm not saying I slept with a bunch of people because I didn't, but just the few that I did, I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't. I wish I would have saved my body for my husband. I wish I wasn't carrying a soul tie of somebody that did not treat me right around for who knows how long. And that's what I'm saying. Save yourself from that detriment. Save yourself from exposing yourself to all of these different people in a way that only you should be with someone you're in covenant with, someone where it's protected, someone where it's safe, somewhere where it can flourish. So you don't justify your actions with just one act. It's when you keep doing it, you start saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Oh, it's fine. Everyone's doing it. It's the norm. Think about how you feel after these interactions. Think about how you really feel. Spend time with yourself thinking about when you do different things, different sins. Smoking, getting drunk, lying, trampling over someone to put yourself ahead. Think about how you really feel after when you're done doing those acts. Think about how this is going to repay you in the next life. All right, I'm going all over the place now. We're just going to end it there, but I want you to think about your choices and notice that when you keep making the wrong choice, Just because you keep ignoring it, just because you keep ignoring the ramifications of your choices does not mean they disappear. Your heart is hardening, so you're closing yourself off to the very real reality of what is happening, but it is still happening, okay? I love you. I said that message with love. As much as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to my past self, because I'm like, girl, why did you do that? Let's move on to the next lesson. Sin never stays contained. Something that once felt wrong starts to feel familiar. When it becomes familiar, it becomes pursued. Unchecked desire will only expand, okay? Let's talk about drinking. Binge drinking at that, because that's very popular in today's world. Binge drinking is when you decide every weekend you're gonna pregame with your friends, and then you're gonna go to the club, and you and your 3 friends are gonna consume an entire bottle of alcohol. It's just shot. It's just shots. And every night you come home from work, you think you need a glass of wine, or you need one of those little alcoholic beverages in the can. You just need every day. You're not thinking nothing of it. It's not doing nothing for you. It's not helping you in any way. And that's the problem with sin. It's because you grow in it. It just expands. It doesn't stay like, oh, I'm only having this one drink. No, it starts with this one drink, and then it's, all right, I'm going to have 5 drinks. Oh, it's not a big deal that I'm going to drink every single day this week. It's not a big deal that when I go out to the club, I have to get blacked out drunk to have a good time. It's not a big deal. You see how it expands? It started so small, and it just grows. And that's the problem with sin when it continues. Do you know overindulging with food is also a sin? Being a glutton, overeating. I be struggling with this, I'm not even gonna lie. Your girl likes to eat. I told my boyfriend before you was my boyfriend, I eat like a grown man. There is no shame in my game. And sometimes I just want to overeat just because it tastes so good. Food tastes so good. And that is a sin. Overeating past the point of what you really need, just overindulging, that is a sin. And you know what really convicted me about my eating is, like, I live by myself. I love that. I live by myself. So if I do something like, if I bake brownies, you know how they say moderation is the key? I don't know moderation. Moderation don't know me. If I bake a pan of brownies, it will be gone in 2 days, and only I ate it. Only I ate it. If I bake a batch of cookies, it'll be gone in 3 days, and only I ate it. Like, it's not something that starts small. Like, if I bake something, oh, I'm gonna just have this one brownie. It expands, it grows all of a sudden. And then it's like, I think, okay, well, I could have just did it that one time. No, every weekend I gotta bake something, and I'm eating all of it. It just expands, and you gotta nip that stuff in the bud. You gotta nip that stuff in the bowl before you become a slave to that thing, before you are addicted to something and you don't know how to contain it. You have to recognize the sin in what you're doing. You have to have the self-awareness to say, this is not the right thing for me to be doing. And you gotta nip that thing in the bud, okay? You gotta check your desires. You gotta check your heart posture. You gotta check the hold that thing has on you. Can you go a week without it? Because if you can't go a week without it, that's a pretty good indicator that that thing has control over you, okay? And it becomes something that can really control you, and your life will unravel out of control. If I don't check my eating behaviors, I'm gonna be huge, and I don't want to be huge, okay? I am 28 years old. My frame is my frame. I've been bigger than this. I don't want to be bigger than this again. So every now and again, I have to say, girl, you don't need to bake nothing for a month straight. You need to reset. And that's actually how I keep that little habit in check. I take breaks, because when I do it, I just know myself well enough. And I have to know myself well enough to know when I need to limit certain things. You have to know yourself well enough to say, okay, I know if someone offers me a drink, I don't know when to stop. I just need to remove the temptation altogether. I need to remove myself from the environment where I'm going to feel pressured to partake in that. I need to remove it altogether. That is how you check your desires, and you check if it has a hold on you. That's at least how I do it. I'll just remove myself from the thing completely. If I know I need to take a break from overindulging when eating, it just won't be in my house. If it's not in my house, I can't eat it. No temptation, because if it's in my house, I will be eating it, okay? I will be eating it. All right, let's get into the last lesson. Your thinking determines your living. The entire downward spiral begins in the mind. Behavior follows what's in your mind. So if your thoughts are not rooted in truth, your life won't be either. So you have to think about, what are your morals? What do you think is right? What do you think is wrong? And who is the standard? Who are you measuring this right and wrongness against? Because if it's not Christ, it's wrong, okay? Christ will show us which direction to go. The more you look at things, you have to say, how would Christ feel about this? And you know the answer, because God put that internal guide in us. Like, we know the answer, and we have to make the intention to intentionally choose what Christ would do. And typically it's the harder choice. Like, you have to think about how you're showing up. You have to think about what you're putting out, what kind of seeds you're sowing. Like, you have to really think about, it all starts in the mind. And if my behavior is going to follow, sometimes you have to think, all right, if I stay off this app, I won't be hooking up with strangers anymore. If I don't go to the club, I won't be overindulging in drinks anymore. If I don't I don't buy the ingredients to make an entire batch of cookies, there's no way I can bake the cookies and eat all the cookies in 2 days. Like, it all starts in the mind. You have to make the decision in the mind and then allow your actions to follow. Don't allow things to have a hold over you, okay? And don't ignore convictions. Like, as you're listening to this video, I can bet that you probably started thinking about something you do. That's your conviction, babe. That is your conviction. Don't ignore it. Your mind just told you this is something we need to check. This is something I low-key might be struggling with. And it's okay. There's no shame. The beauty about conviction, which is different from condemnation, conviction, it just brings awareness to something you need to change with love. And it's like, all right, let's work through this. Let's not give into this. We can fix this. Conviction is an inner awareness that something is wrong and you need to make it right, right? Condemnation is you have that awareness that something's wrong and now you feel shame. Now you feel bad about yourself and you feel like, well, you start feeling all these negative emotions connected to that very thing that leaves you crippled. Like, you don't know how to move past it. That's the opposite of what God be doing. He brings you awareness with love that, hey, you need to nip this in the bud. Hey, yeah, you slept with 3 people in 2 weeks. You need to stop doing that. You drank an entire bottle of tequila by yourself in 1 week. You need to stop doing that. You smoked a bunch of weed by yourself in 2 weeks. Whatever that thing they be buying, and I don't know how much that things are. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. You know what your conviction is. Don't feel shame about it. Don't feel like you're less than. Don't feel like something's wrong with you, because there's not, babe. But now you're aware of something you just need to fix. And all you have to do is decide in your mind, that thing does not have control over me. I'm aware that I'm struggling with this, and now I'm going to take intentional actions so that it can't control me. Because the only person controlling me, pulling the strings, is Christ, and he wants what's best for me. And I want to do the will of my Father in heaven, okay? So don't go numb. Don't think that you can just ignore something, because it's only going to grow and expand, and you're going to grow bold in it, and that leads you further away from God. We don't want that. We don't want that. So what did we actually learn in today's video? Besides the fact that I eat too much. Paul warns that repeated rejection of truth and resistance to conviction leads to a hardened heart, spiritual numbness, and an escalating, shameless embrace of sin. All right? This is what not to do. This is what not to do. Do not ignore your convictions and grow in sin. Take that awareness as a gift from God, that he's revealing to you something that you now have the power to change. And do you know how powerful you feel when you realize something does not have a hold over you? It's like, hold up, I am that girl. Hold up, okay? So babe, don't ignore your convictions. Take that as self-awareness, and you get to decide how you're going to move forward. You get to decide how you're going to pivot. You get to decide how you're about to become one step closer to Christ and one step closer to the better version of you. You have that choice. It's within your power. So don't grow numb and eventually bold in your sin. Don't embrace your sin. Switch that thing up. Switch that thing up. All right, that is it for today's lesson. I do hope it blessed you. I hope I didn't eat you up too bad. If those specific things I talked about have you in a chokehold right now, just know I am not above you and I'm not below you, but I'm right here with you. Okay, we all have something we're struggling with, and that does not make us unworthy, but we do get to learn something where we get to improve, and that's beautiful. Growth is beautiful and it's welcome. So don't delay. Address your convictions today. And with that, my friend, we will end the video. I am changing the cadence. This is the first video where I will be saying this, but the new schedule. Now, we went from posting every single day a lesson, which I've learned that it will just not be sustainable for me. It won't be sustainable for me. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do every other day. And then after a week of doing that, I'm recognizing that that's also going to cause some problems and it's going to cause some confusions. So we now have decided on a schedule we will be embracing for the next couple of months, and we'll see how it works, of posting these lessons every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they will drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 p.m. So I hope to see you in the next video at 5:30 p.m., babe. And our self-love journaling videos will always be on Saturday mornings. I forgot the time right now. I'll say that in the next video maybe. And calisthenics journey videos are starting to get posted on Sundays, so you guys can see as I progress through my calisthenics journey. And listen, we're having some humbling beginnings, so not too much, not too much. As always, I thank you for spending this time with me. I thank you for listening to the lesson. I really do hope it helps you. I don't be telling my business just to be telling my business on the internet. I be telling my business because I really do hope it helps somebody, and I hope it unleashes you from the shame you might feel for what you're dealing with, because we all struggle somewhere and we can help each other move to the next level, okay? Don't forget to check out my Etsy shop in the description. It is linked. I do be seeing y'all be taking ganners over there, but y'all don't be buying nothing. Maybe you'll leave a comment. Tell me what kind of things you would like to see me post. I've taken into consideration. With that being said, I love you and thank you for spending this time with me, and I will see you again at 5:30 in, I don't know what day this video is getting posted, so see you at 5:30 in a couple days. Bye.